All right, and welcome into the next edition of the Vegas Squares podcast. We are spikeless today, but no matter. Anthony and I tread John. Anthony, we missed you on Monday, buddy.
Feeling much better today. Glad to be back.
You looked like shit on Monday.
I looked like a ghost.
Yeah. So, anyways, well, we had a wild card weekend. It was a lot of... I'd say we did pretty well. I mean, you know, we went over the picks on Monday's show, and minus your LA Rams pick, and your Saints pick too. But, I mean, overall, I think we did pretty well. Hopefully you guys did too, if you piggybacked off of it. I wish I had the stones to call that upset, but we both had Tennessee in that spot, and it was a pretty good selection. Yeah, absolutely. So, well, now we've got some more, I don't know, what would you say, some more viable matchups, you know.
I would say a lot
better. Cream's
better.
rising to the top.
I would say a lot better matchups this week compared to last week.
Yeah, so we're going to preview the divisional round, look ahead to the games this weekend. We'll talk about some other happenings in the NFL, maybe look at some other sports, see what happens. We'll see kind of where this podcast takes us. But thanks for tuning into the Vegas Squares podcast. You can catch us on any one of our social media outlets. I've been pretty active on social media this week. I haven't been the nicest of people. I don't like this mindset, We'll start with some college football, which is what I was kind of discussing on Twitter. I don't like this mindset of this Power 5 nation that they're like, you know, you can't even sniff the jock of Alabama because they beat you by 3 scores. I mean, is this not why we play a fucking ball game? I mean, look, I'm a Patriots fan. Do you not remember 2007? The 18-0 Patriots became the 18-1. This is why we play football. Yeah. So don't tell me this fucking notion that you're like, well, you know, you'd get run out the door. Well, you know what? Put us on the field and run us out of the damn door. So, I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I know you're a Michigan State guy. I mean, I went to Florida State. You know, it's I get the P5, you know, conference supremacy, but, you know, they're like, oh, you need to schedule better opponents. And, you know.
They actually did, according to all their opponents, about 3 years ago. They had all good. I mean,
we've scheduled Stanford, we've scheduled Georgia Tech. Now that got knocked out by a hurricane. Yeah. We've scheduled Power 5 conferences. We beat a Power 5 conference, Maryland, by 28 points, by 4 touchdowns. And if you look on our schedule, if there was not a hurricane that wiped out that Georgia Tech game, which we had to reschedule with Austin Peay, we did not schedule a FCS school this year on purpose. We did not schedule. I can't say the same about anybody, any single team. If you look, I cannot say this any single team in the SEC.
I can't think of any SEC team.
I looked at the schedules. Every SEC team scheduled an FCS opponent. And UCF scheduled on purpose in the initials. Again, you can't control what a hurricane does. But in the initial situation, when they had to create the schedule, they scheduled 0 FCS opponents. What more do you want?
I mean, if you schedule like an FCS opponent, you should make it like North Dakota State or something like that. Make it somebody that at least performs very well every year.
You realize why they won't schedule North Dakota State. Do you remember 6?
Something like that, yeah.
Do you remember Appalachian State?
Yeah.
They won't do it anymore. And I get it. Realistically, a team like Alabama, look, I'm not delusional. A team like Alabama, scheduling UCF has nothing to gain. If they win, great. They were supposed to win. Like, I'm talking about in regular season, not in bowl play. Mm-hmm. But if they lose, I mean, the heavens fall. But that's what we need. That's what a school like UCF needs. I mean, Boise State for 5, 6, 7 years were like, we will take all comers. And they beat most of them. So I think they unfortunately, I think they set a precedent. They're like, well, we're not doing that again.
Yeah. It's kind of like UNLV this last season, scheduling Howard and
45-point
paying them to play and blowing that game, yeah.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I was pretty salty on Twitter, but I feel like I got some good shots in. So, anyways, well, once again, we thank you for tuning in. And my original point to that was follow us on Twitter so you can catch all of this action.
If you want to see the mayhem unfold.
Yeah, to catch all that action and get kind of a taste on how I was feeling this week. Because, you know what? The fact we're at Vegas Squares. I keep diluting from that. I keep diverting from that. We're at Vegas Squares on Twitter. But, you know, we're sitting here as UCF fans, you know, not you, but, you know, me and my people are saying,
I respect them.
Hey, we're going to hang the banner next year. And watching these P5 fans just come down to our Twitter pages and get so butthurt. You can't hang a banner. We're the champions. We played in the playoff. fuck you. I'll hang a banner. What difference does it make to you? And if you want to talk about fake championships, every single school's got them during the poll eras.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I had a Florida State fan. I mean, I'm a Florida State fan as well, but I had a Florida State fan come down to me and be like, well, you can't be claiming the Coley Matrix championship. I'm like, you were not unanimous national champions in 1993. There are five schools in 1993 that claim championships, including one that beat you. So you need to check.
You don't have
Notre Dame in 93, Auburn in 93, Florida State in 93, I think Nebraska in 93, all claim a national title based on the different polls that they had. So shut your yap. That's basically what I have to say. You know, if we want to hang a banner in our stadium and crown ourselves national champions, because technically we can. One poll out of all the polls put us number one. So,
yeah, Nebraska was in that talk too. Yeah,
yeah. There was another. Was it UCLA? Who was the other school? There was 5 schools, I think. It may have only been 4, but I know it was Florida State, Auburn. Auburn crowned themselves, but they couldn't because they couldn't officially crown themselves because they were facing like sanctions or whatever.
Yeah.
Notre Dame was 1.
Yes, correct, and Nebraska.
So it was just the 4.
That's all I'm seeing right now.
Okay, so maybe it was just 4, but I thought there was 5. But my point being is that Florida State was not unanimous national champions. Yes, they were majority national champions between AP and coaches, which is really what matters when it boils down to brass tacks, which is fine. But if your school's done it, don't come down to me and try to poo-poo on our parade. You know, I don't know. It was just, I had a little fun, had a little fun this week on Twitter. So anyways, you can get us on Instagram. It's at Vegas Squares Podcast, Facebook.com, Vegas Squares. You can check out the website, vegassquares.com. We post our articles there. Give them a good read because I'd like to think I work hard on them, but yeah, we'll see. We will have bios up of us one day soon, I promise.
It's in the works.
It's in the works. We're still waiting on Anthony's. I think I asked him 2 years ago to do it. So,
I thought it was about 3.
Yeah, it might be closer to 3 now. I guess we are in 2018. Come on, bro.
Come on.
So let's move in. We're on 12 Ounce Sports Radio, guys, if you don't know that as well. We're also moving, potentially, hopefully getting into another online radio station. Once we have more details with that, we will definitely pass that information along. We're excited about potentially, growing this brand, growing this podcast and growing this venture. And, let's dive into what you're really coming in to listen for, and that's football, and it's playoff football. And we're in the divisional round, and we got 4 games.
4 impressive games.
2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. I think all the games have definite watchability, unlike last week.
Absolutely.
So,
but though last week they were all pretty interesting in some way.
I didn't watch a single lick of the Buffalo Jacksonville game, and I feel like I
didn't miss much.
I may have benefited from that.
Didn't waste 2.5 hours of your life.
Was it only the 2.5 hours?
It was probably more.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But anyways, so let's look at the first game on the docket. It's Atlanta and Philadelphia. And when you look at this, I mean, Atlanta opens up as a 3-point favorite as the 6th seed against the 1 seed, which has never happened. Never happened.
First 1 seed, first round.
To come off a bye and be a dog.
Yes.
My first thought is, what does that say about Nick Foles? What is Vegas saying about Nick Foles?
Is he just complete trash that they think that he is or something? Or
I mean, I don't know. Foles could start for half the league tomorrow.
I would easily say so. I'm surprised this line opened up as high, and it looks like it might be moving a little.
I think the late movement's going to move towards Atlanta. I think Atlanta's the sexy pick right now. Like, I'm not saying my pick. I'm saying, the VI consensus has them at 3, even money.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So the even money is kind of a throw off for me as well.
In my thoughts, I'm surprised this opened up as that much of a favorite for Atlanta. I thought it would be closer to pick them.
Well, I mean, basically what you're saying at this point is the number 1 seed in the playoffs in the NFC on a neutral field would be almost a touchdown dog.
Yeah, pretty much.
That to me is just
not right.
It's just crazy to me. I don't know. And Atlanta's been getting the trendy money. I mean, they went on the road. They have the experience. Obviously, they want to revenge last year. I look at it. Obviously, you got Foles. You still have a top flight defense. You have 2 weapons in the backfield in Blunt. Actually, 3 with Smallwood and Jay Ajayi. Decent receivers. Zach Ertz is a beast. I mean, all Nick Foles has to do is basically be Alex Smith. Most of Alex Smith's career. Just don't fuck this up. And I think he could do it. So I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, I'm not even going to hesitate. I think Philadelphia's going to win the game. I'm finding whatever best money line I can find on Philadelphia is and firing.
I'm leaning towards the same. Screw the spread. Go with the money line.
Yeah, I'm going with money line. I think that this is a classic trap Vegas line.
I think it's plus 130 on William Hill right now.
Yeah, it was plus 130. I've seen it in plus 135 and 140 in some spots. But, I think the Eagles are going to come out and run the ball 50 times. Maybe 50 is a little high, but
I see a
times.
Decent chunk, yeah. I was going to say 35 to 45.
Ajayi has 23 to 25 carries. Blunt has another 10 to 15. I think you've got to basically wear down this defense and then open it up
for the pass. For
the play action pass. Because if there's any weakness in the Falcons defense, it's their secondary. Lately they've been playing well, but overall, Keanu Neal is their only real main weapon. Trufant, he's okay. But I expect to see first and second down running of, 4 to 4.5 yards a carry and basically stay out of third and long where you have to rely on Nick Foles.
Mm-hmm. Or you create a third and short option where you could do like a screen pass, a slot pass, or...
Right, and that's where I think Smallwood comes in, or, quickness of Aguilar. So, I don't know. What I see is if Philadelphia can shut down one of the receivers and one of the running backs from Atlanta, whether it be a combination of Julio and Devontae, or Julio and Coleman, or Sanu and Coleman, or Sanu and Devontae, I think they can win this game, especially when they got the crowd. They play great defense.
They do.
Their cornerbacks stay on one side. So one cornerback's going to stay on one side and cover whoever comes over there, and vice versa. They got two good ones, Mills and Darby. So, they got to steal with Darby from Buffalo.
That was an understatement. Yeah.
And I think Malcolm Jenkins still in the back in the safety position. So they got a really good secondary, which is capable of shutting down a Matt Ryan offense. So you got to be able to protect against those dunk passes because that's what Devontae does best. So if they shut down, like I said, if they shut down 2 of the 4, which, let's be honest, it's not going to be easy. But if they shut down 2 of the 4 primary weapons of Atlanta, I don't see them losing this game.
I think the only way if they lose, if they rush the ball and they get stuffed, or if they fumble rushing the ball.
Well, sure, turnovers are going to be a huge issue. That's any game. That's low hanging fruit. You can always lean to turnovers and penalties, but the Eagles aren't really going to be a situation. You got to stay out of situations where they force the hand of Nick Foles. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Nick Foles can't do it, but why get yourself there? So this game's going to be on Ajayi and Blunt, in my opinion.
I'm leaning towards Philadelphia as well. Money line.
Yeah, I think money line Philadelphia is my pick as well. I probably will tease it so I can get 17 points. I'm going with a 14. I'm going with a 14-14. I'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
But I'm going the 14 point teaser. God, that's a tongue teaser.
Yeah.
14 points.
Yeah, minus 200.
Yeah, I won the last week. So might just roll it over this week. So, all right. Well, we got what's the next game? It's Tennessee and New England.
Yep.
Look, this line is too big to touch, in my opinion, one way or the other. If I had to touch, to be honest with you, if I had to bet with my head, I'd take New England because I think they're going to beat them by 35 points. But let's dissect and look kind of at maybe why that's going to happen. What are your thoughts on basically, Marcus Mariota's second real football game after his? Let's call it what it is. It was a weird, fluky come from behind victory.
It was.
That's what you need. That's what you need. In those crazy come from behind victories, you need things like a pass to yourself and a fumble that
was a crazy.
You need a little luck and you need a little help from the refs. We know this, especially in today's NFL.
At first, to me, I almost thought that was going to be a legal forward pass because I thought he was past the line of scrimmage.
Everybody thought he was past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. But the formula always for beating New England is pressure Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, can the Titans do it?
I think they might be able to do enough, but I don't think they get into him, and I see New England winning this game. I say it might be close to the spread. I'm going to say like 10 to 17 points.
See, and that's the thing. That's where it makes it dicey. If that's how you're feeling, you're like, okay, one little flick of the ball, one way or the other. I mean, Titans have a pretty good defense. It's what kind of kept them relevant, I guess you could say, because their offense, I mean, let's face it, they went 4 field goals to 3 field goals against Cleveland one week.
Yeah.
They've been pretty bad. So, DeMarco Murray's out. Derrick Henry stepped in like I called last week and had a great game. I said he would have 115. He had 150.
Yeah.
So,
pretty close.
Patriots play bend but don't break. I think Mariota, when he gets down into those red zone, he's one of the worst red zone passers, actually, in NFL history over the time he's been in the league.
I thought Stafford was worse.
Well, no, Stafford's just one of the worst passers in history of the time he's been in the league. Buddy and I had this debate, actually, and you're a Lions fan, and he was a Lions fan.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to break too far off of this tangent, but I want to have this conversation. When it came time to pay Stafford, would you have cut him? And settled for either going after Garoppolo, drafting a quarterback? I said Teddy Bridgewater. At the time, obviously, he wasn't healthy as he is now.
Mm-hmm.
But just real quickly, I mean, I said, my friend said, he's a Lions fan, he said, you got to give Stafford the money because it's what else are you going to do? I said, you sign a guy who's maybe a tier below Stafford, beef up your line, beef up both your interior lines.
And the running back.
Well, I think if you beef up your interior line, your running backs become better.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
But if you sign a guy like Bridgewater or Garoppolo at $18 million versus Stafford with $30, you take that $12 million and you improve. And I think a quarterback that's below maybe a tier, like a Bridgewater, like I wouldn't say it now at this point, Garoppolo's a tier below, but if you take a quarterback in that market area value,
15 to 20 mil or something.
Does a quarterback that maybe isn't as good as Stafford talent-wise become better than Stafford for the right price because you've improved everything around him?
Yeah.
And he said I was crazy. So I don't know. I'm curious.
I think you're totally being realistic, and I agree. I think we paid him too much money, but I do think he deserved a good chunk of money. But he should have been like, hey, improve everything around me, I will win.
Well, he's not going to say that.
I don't know.
The only person who's ever said that I can remember is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other quarterback that's basically said, take this and go get me some weapon. Because you have great receivers. Marvin Jones has become a fantastic receiver. Golden Tate, etc.
Yeah.
So
Galladay is.
I don't know. I thought he was.
Stepping it up.
I think anybody who believes that Stafford just deserved the money is nuts. He obviously he deserves to be paid like a higher tier quarterback, but I personally believe if I'm a GM, you're not making the playoffs with him. You blew a division with him 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or last year, however you want to look at it. He's not the answer. And I know that it sounds scary to do in a complete and total rebuild, but to me, I take the 12 to 15 million I could save and take a quarterback that I can build around.
Mm-hmm.
And make this guy potentially, I mean, look at Case Keenum.
Mm-hmm.
He would be available next year if you didn't have Stafford now and had a stopgap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a guy that comes immediately to mind as Case Keenum. Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that, you pay
12
to 13 million, maybe 18 on the high end for Keenum this year. And you save $15 million.
You beef up everything.
You beef up an offensive line. Abdullah and Theo Riddick become probably instantly better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Your defensive line needs a little work, but the rest of your defense is pretty good.
Yeah, our secondary defense has dramatically improved in the last 5 years.
I think you've addition by subtraction at that point. So, anyways, that is far more Detroit Lions talk than we ever intended on this conversation. But I like to bring up conversations that I have mostly in real time because, a lot of my friends know we do a podcast and they like to, bend my ear a little bit, and I have no problem talking decision making in football. And I've always been more in tune, or I've always been more interested in the front office stuff in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I played Madden, I always loved franchise mode and simulated the season and played the offseason. It's the weirdest thing.
Oh,
like,
I like that feature when they first came out with that.
When they came out with franchise mode, honestly, most of the time, I simulated the season.
Do the training camp and all that, and
I did the draft, I did off-season free agency, and I did, like training camp and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, who are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? How are we gonna get this?
Simulate.
I don't know. To me, it was more interesting than the actual games.
Oh, I enjoyed the same. You could set ticket prices and
setting ticket prices, parking
concession
prices,
stands.
To me, I always got more joy out of doing that than actually just playing Madden football. So I guess I always thought I was the weird one, but
I enjoyed that too.
Anyways, let's get back to Patriots Titans and where were we at in that point? But basically, I think that let's look at it. Bill Belichick takes away the best thing that you do. So we have to look at what the best thing that Tennessee does, and I've got to imagine that's Derrick Henry.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to want to put the ball in Mariota's hands or his legs, which his legs could be dangerous. But I think that Bill Belichick's not too dumb for that.
No.
So let's put the ball in Mariota's hands at this point. So you have to expect Mariota to do something he really hasn't done for 18 weeks, and that's play solid quarterback consistently for a whole game.
It's going to be very tough.
So I think like I said, you take away the advantage. Basically, is for the Patriots. You take away the power run because let's face it, Derrick Henry's not a scat back like DeMarco is. DeMarco is not there, so that's advantage Patriots on the defensive side. And to me, on the offensive side, on the offensive side for the Patriots, I don't know if Adoree Jackson, who's a rookie, and I don't know who's on the other side, but I have to look up their roster. Of course, my computer doesn't want to do anything right now. It wants to make me look at Jaguar football, which we'll get to. We will get to. Just chill. We will get to it. The weapons are endless. We have, you've got Cooks, you've got Gronkowski, you've got a stable of running backs, you've got Amendola. I mean, I don't need to list any more than that because we all know the weapons that are in New England.
Yeah, Brian Hoyer as your backup.
Oh, Logan Ryan is the other quarterback. Oh, he's a former Patriot. That's right. I forgot about Logan Ryan. Anyways, so you got Cyprian and Kevin Byard as safeties, who Kevin Byard was one of my picks for Defensive Player of the Year, which I like the way he does things. I think the front seven, in my opinion, which is where the offense for the Patriots kind of almost established itself, those first 5 yards. Dink and dunk offense. It's been that staple for since 2008 when Wes Welker was there?
Yeah.
It's been for 10 years now?
Yes.
So, I look for the dink and dunk offense, eventually trying to find spots to go deep with Brandon Cooks. But I just don't think Tennessee can stop it. I think, New England has that edge because, well, let's face it, we know who's lining up behind center.
Oh, absolutely.
And, I don't know. I think New England has the edge. I think this looks like maybe a close first half, blowout in the second where they win by, they're winning
3-4 scores.
Yeah, 3-4 scores, kind of almost like the Deflategate game against the Indianapolis. So I say they cover 13.5. I again will probably more lean to put that in my teaser down to basically a pick'em.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'll give you my 14 point teaser after. But let's talk about.
I actually thought with your teaser, you'd probably go the under with the total with the teaser.
Go under up to 62.
Yeah,
could be a possibility. Yeah, because I think the thing is, I think New England could put 35 to 42 by themselves.
Yeah.
So if 62, I don't know if necessarily Tennessee is good for 20 points. It may be a possibility. If the number jumps up, because it's 48 right now, and it's 47.5 at a couple other places. But if the number jumps up, if it jumps up to 50, which I don't think it will. If it jumps up to 49.5, 50, I may tease it up and take the under. Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to make definitive picks today, but check out the Twitter. I always have some other picks that I like to go with, so we'll take a look at it. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about that with the total because realistically, if I think there's a blowout and I think Tennessee can't score, I don't think New England's putting up 50 points.
Or you could do the over 34.5. Or over 34.
Yeah, take a look at it. I got some time to think.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Jacksonville versus Pittsburgh?
think Jacksonville has a shot. I think even though everybody wants to say that was kind of a fluke game with 5 turnovers by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I keep seeing. I was talking to a guy at work the other day, and he's like, I told him, I was like, I can see 3 scenarios in this happening, of what happening Sunday. Or, is this game Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday morning.
Okay, so I said, I can see Pittsburgh blowing them out. I can see Pittsburgh winning very close, and I can see Jacksonville blowing them out at this point. And he's like, there's no way Jacksonville blows them out. There's no way. The Steelers are too good. I'm like,
that's the 3 possibilities I was leaning towards.
They've done it.
And the one I'm leaning towards most is Pittsburgh wins in a close game.
I mean, I'm sitting here looking at an article right now previewing it. It says, did you hear Ben Roethlisberger threw 5 interceptions against the Jaguars in week 5? That won't happen again. Why not? They're the best pass defense in the league.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, maybe 5 is a little far-fetched, but it's not too far-fetched to say that they're 3. And if Antonio Brown doesn't play, which, let's face it, he's going to suit up, but God forbid he doesn't play, I mean...
He's not going to be 100%, not going to take probably 100%
drop
of
off
snaps.
Significantly without him. So, and to be honest, I think the Jaguars' defense might be better now than they were in week, 5?
5, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see why it's not far-fetched for Pittsburgh to basically... I mean, this whole week they've been looking ahead. All I've been hearing is them talking about beating New England. Mm-hmm. Well, you got to get there first. So I wouldn't overlook Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, obviously, they looked terrible offensively, but I think Leonard Fournette's going to turn it around. I think he knows what to do. There's basically, I don't know if they're going to when Brown plays, if they're just going to put Ramsey on him and just travel the field with him, or are they going to just keep their corners on each side of the game or on each side of the? I
say you stick with the original game plan and don't change that unless if you're getting blown out.
Well, what's the original? I mean, what do you think the original game plan is? Because okay, you look at week 5. Whatever you did in week 5, Pittsburgh's going to make adjustments. Mm-hmm. That's how the NFL works. You have to adjust to the adjustments. So, do you look at it and say, okay, what we did then, we have to adjust because they're going to adjust, or do we just say, this is what happened, we picked off a guy 5 times, we're going to go with this, and at least for the first 30 minutes, see what's going on?
I say they adjust, but they don't, or they adjust, and if that's not working, it'll revert back to what they did week 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to say. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger is a great quarterback. There's no denying that.
Absolutely.
So the question is Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger, with the exception of 2 years, have really not come up big in these spots. And if I think their mind is considerably focused on New England, I could see Jacksonville going in and getting this one. I don't know if I'm man enough to take the money line straight up, but you're giving me a touchdown on the road, especially from everything. Obviously, it's a lasting impression with what we saw against Buffalo, but you're giving me everything. Everything's telling me to take Jacksonville in this spot.
Yeah, me too. I know some places the line's 7.5. I know some places it's even money at 7. It's about where it is everywhere in town.
Yeah, the consensus is 7 and minus 115 juice. So
minus 105 at plus 7.
So the total 41 looks weird to me. We talked about this last time. We were like, we all thought you picked the under and you got it right with Jacksonville and Buffalo. I don't think you realized how under it would be, though.
I thought it'd be a little closer.
A little closer to the total. I thought they'd go over the total, and shit. They couldn't even get over the total in yardage.
No, I think that was a struggle.
So it's just, I don't know. I'm going to take Jacksonville with the 7. I should have grabbed it when it was 7.5. Now I
think it might go back up.
Yeah, it might go back up late, so we'll see what happens.
Or you could take them plus 7 and get by a half, but still be minus 120.
So I'm going to obviously put them in my teaser, get them 21 points. I'm going to take 3 touchdowns, that's for sure.
I like that.
Why would I not?
I mean, even if they don't originally cover, I think they're still good to cover 3 touchdowns.
Anyways, yeah, so that's my thoughts on the Jacksonville situation. I'm going to go with Jacksonville with the 7, take the teaser, get another 2 touchdowns out of it.
My prediction for this game, Pittsburgh wins 27-21.
That's a fair assessment. All right, well, let's look at the last playoff game. Dome Sweet Dome. Side of the Super Bowl. Minnesota's going to start their descent towards staying there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Start their quest towards staying there, their Viking quest. Remember Viking Quest and Entourage?
Yeah.
That was a great show. Not Viking Quest, but Entourage.
Entourage, yeah. I've seen a few episodes.
Did you see that they're going to reboot The Office?
Are they?
That's what I've been reading. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, to me, I love The Office. I can watch it I watch it every day. And people are like, don't ruin a good thing. I'm like, give me more. Even if it sucks, give me more. Like, there were episodes of The Office that I was like, it's not very good.
Yeah,
but, like,
no, I have the same thought. Overall, it was very good.
Like, don't ruin it. I'm like, don't ever end this program. Like,
it's like How I Met Your Mother or Friends or...
They fucking took How I Met Your Mother off of Netflix. And
It's on Hulu, though.
Yeah, but I don't have Hulu. So... if they take The Office off Netflix, I am officially canceling. Because to be honest with you, other than Stranger Things and House of Cards, those were the only two shows I watched.
And Office, you probably finished the whole series within...
I've watched it
4 days.
No, I've watched it at least 10 times. No, I usually... when I come home from... I work nights, so when I come home from work, I watch a couple of episodes until I fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I probably get through 3, 4, 5 episodes a day, which is roughly... well, depending on some of the episodes are an hour, but they're roughly about 30-minute episodes after commercials. So I get through about 2 hours of watching The Office, and by that time I'm ready to go to bed. So if they take it off,
mayhem,
skulls will be crushed.
Skull.
The fuck are you doing?
Viking skull.
Oh, victory! Anyways, Saints Vikings. What's the line here? We got,
consensus
6?
says 5.
5, you're right, 5. Minnesota 5, total 46.5. After the big over with New Orleans and Carolina last week, my gut would tell me to lean the under on this. Well, let's look at the matchups. Obviously, we have two quarterbacks with completely different pedigrees.
Oh, absolutely.
You have Drew Brees, who's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's going to be a free agent this year. He's almost 40. What's he going to do? Are the Saints really evaluating him at this point? Or are they're going to give him a deal?
I think they're going to give him a deal, whether what they offer could come down to this game or
this season, the rest of this season.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it. I mean, you're 39 years old. You can't really get more than a 3-year deal max, and that's just.
I was going to say 2 to 3.
That's just kind of like thanks for the memories kind of deal.
Yeah.
So what's he going to get? Is he going to get $25 million? Is he going to get 2 years, $50 million? 3 years, $90? What's
probably 2 years, 50 to 55.
Or does he even want to be there anymore? Does he want to close his career maybe in Indianapolis or something? Because he's from that area. I don't know.
I could see that being a possibility, but I see him sticking with the Saints.
If you're Indianapolis, you're a new coach, and you didn't draft Andrew Luck.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't know what you got with him. You take Drew Brees for 2 years?
I would.
You would?
I would. And you make sure you draft a quarterback in first few rounds.
You have Andrew Luck. I mean, do you trade it? Obviously you trade it.
I just dump him.
Really? Well, you're ready to dump Andrew Luck after 1 year of just not playing. That's a bold claim. I think before we dive back into this, you have to show your work on that. I mean, you're talking about dumping Andrew Luck, which, granted, he hasn't been a great quarterback. Let's face it. He's had a pretty terrible offensive line in front of him, which is the reason why he doesn't play. He didn't play at all this year because he was hurt, and we saw Jacoby Brissett running for his life. So, you want to put a 39-year-old quarterback behind that offensive line? I'm not disrespecting you. I like the situation with Brees. I'm just saying to completely dump Andrew Luck and not get anything for him. They've paid the guy already.
They have. He's exactly the same age as me, 28.
Andrew Luck's already 28?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
I actually thought he was older. I thought he was closer to 30.
I thought he was closer to 25.
He's actually 9 days older than me.
Man, you're getting old, dude.
I know. Shit. I mean, with that injury, I don't think he'll be the same. I think he'll have, if he does continue to play, I think something happens where it just decimates his career.
Wow. All right. Well, that would be an interesting topic the offseason. We should put a pin in that. But Well, Drew's playing right now, and he's a 5-point dog in Minnesota. The running game was non-existent. So realistically, if you want to look at this game as far as against Carolina, Drew Brees really did most of the work. So he's obviously, Minnesota's going to probably game plan the exact same way. Shut down the two-headed monster that's Kamara and Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina couldn't, you have, like I said, Michael Thomas is playing out of his mind. You have Willie Snead. You have so many weapons. Drew Brees has always had so many weapons. They're not like household names, but if you shut down that running game, do they still have enough on offense to basically still compete in this game? I thought they could get by Carolina because Carolina has a lot of holes that can be exposed. Case in point. But I don't know if Minnesota's defense is the same kind of church defense as the Carolina Panthers. By church, I mean holy.
No, I agree with that as well. I think they're more fine together and more...
I think they're a better equipped all-around defense. So I really think the advantage Minnesota on defense against Drew Brees, against that offense, which... Let's be honest, that doesn't happen too many times on a Drew Brees offense, where the defense is at an advantage. Usually, Drew Brees and his offense are statistically or probability better than a defense that they face. And that's just the nature of the league, with the new rules and with the fact that Drew Brees is a great quarterback. I think Minnesota is clearly a favorite in that matchup. We'll flip to the other side of the ball. New Orleans defense, we're talking all-worldly, a turnaround. They've become a force.
Probably one of the top 5 in the league.
Minnesota's strength is Thielen and Diggs. And a running game that gives them just exactly what they need from Murray and McKinnon. So I don't know if I can really push the needle one way or the other as far as an advantage. If I had to, I feel like this game is statistically a defensive battle despite what they market. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're going to market Drew Brees. You're going to market, Minnesota's, Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Mm-hmm. But I think this total stays under, and I think Minnesota covers the 5. I think it's going to be somewhere in like the 28-17, right under 24-17, somewhere along those lines. Maybe even lower, 20-13, something like that.
I'm thinking Minnesota wins, but they don't cover.
Okay.
My thoughts on that. It'll be close to the spread, or the total. Minnesota wins 24-21 with a game-ending field goal.
Okay, I can see that too. I can see it being a close battle. 5's not a huge, it's a weird spread. It's a very, it's not a key number, obviously. So which kind of makes it weird. It kind of makes me lean towards Minnesota. Minnesota won a lot of these games by 7 to 10 to 13 points. And I think that they can do that against this team. Because if they're going to shut down one aspect, I think it's going to be the running game. And, I don't know if Brees can pass on that secondary, great. And they may light the scoreboard up. I just don't see it that way. I see a lot of squares looking at 46 thinking New Orleans could put up 40 by themselves.
Possibly, but very unlikely in this game.
Not every week. And you're right. Yeah. But I'm saying a square pick just looks at how is this 46, and you've got two teams that can score. Minnesota is not a slouch on offense.
No.
This game screams squares play the over. I like the under. I think Minnesota can cover the 5. I think they're going to win by a touchdown, maybe 7 to 10 points is my thought process. But with the teaser, the 14-point teaser,
you're taking the Saints.
I would take the total down to 32.5 and go over.
Oh, okay.
I think they can get that. I think they can get 20 to 13, somewhere around that,
It won't be a 10-3 game.
God, no, I hope not. I can't imagine this. I could see it, but I really don't think, I think they can score over 30.
Uh-huh. You're not going to take the under of the big total?
What, 60?
Yeah.
That's probably another good bet too. Yeah, go 60 and just snatch the under. No. Knowing that, I'll take it up to 60, and this game will be 55 to 54.
Yeah.
Double overtime.
How insane would that be? It ends on a safety.
Good God, that would be bananas.
Be one of the crazy craziest endings for a game ever.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, let's talk about Le'Veon Bell a little bit, because this is a really rather puzzling decision if he actually goes through with it. Let's face it. I'll preface this by saying I call bullshit. But basically, the article I read is that Le'Veon Bell is tired of being franchise tagged, which he's only been franchise tagged once. But if he gets franchise tagged again, he's considering sitting out or, get this, retiring.
A little ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the exact number is, but basically an average of the top 5 paid running backs in the league, you're getting that average to play football.
Mm-hmm.
You have, failed 3 drug tests? You've been suspended, I think, 3 times for drug tests?
I believe it was 3.
And they're willing to pay you, I got the number here, he's playing on a $12.1 million this year. His number would increase to 14.5 next year.
Jeez.
And you're telling me that for a person who probably should be out of the league at this point for doing idiotic things, they're still going to give you $26 million over 2 years to play running back. A position that's almost obsolete for a single person.
And probably sit you 1 or 2 weeks out of the season.
Yeah. And the thing is okay, look, he is a dominant workhorse running back. There's not many in the league. What do you have? I mean, you have him, you have Zeke. What do you have? David Johnson. And who else is a dominant workhorse running back that takes 25 to 30 carries a game? It's not many.
DeMarco Murray, maybe?
Not even.
Yeah.
Not with Derrick Henry behind him. So anyway, those are the 3 that come directly to mind. I'm sure there's more. Maybe Carlos Hyde, but I mean, he's on a lower scale.
Kareem Hunt, maybe.
Yeah, but if Spencer Ware comes back next year, I think Kareem Hunt's going to succeed carries to that. Anyways, but right now, you're right. This year, he was a dominant workhorse running back. Mm. Anyways, so you're telling me that over the last 2 years, you're going to get, over the next 2 years, over 2 years' time, you're going to get $26 million as a running back in a position that's mostly obsolete to what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to not... Okay, you touched the ball 400 times and you're not okay with $14 million. What are you asking for at that point? Is it stability or is it money?
I have no idea.
His answer was value me, which, of course, that's going to be a whole fucking smoke and mirror show. What the hell is the front office in Pittsburgh value you? Well, we value you at 1 year $14.1 million. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? Next year you could snap a knee, or next year you could not take the ball 400 times. Mm-hmm. Or, okay, so let's see. He got 321 carries, caught 85 passes. So what is that? 406 touches. I mean, $14.1 million seems okay to me.
Oh, absolutely. Be ridiculous if he retires.
And what is it with this tag? I mean, you're basically getting 1 year of guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kirk Cousins, what did he get tagged? He got tagged twice for what, like $25 million each? Something like that?
A little over that, I think.
So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I see it the way I see it is, in 2 years' time, I could make $50 million. If I never play again, I'm pretty set. And if I do, one day get a long-term contract, then it'll be there. But right now, you're giving me $50 million to play average quarterback for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Ship the sherbet to the pervert. I don't know. Me, I'd do it, but I guess I come from a different thought process.
Yeah, different thought mind.
He's made $16 million in his career. Look at this. He's made $16 million at this point in his career. He's about to make almost that in 1 year.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Todd Gurley. That's a good one. I was reading this article. Todd Gurley, basically, and Melvin Gordon are another guys that, took the rock a lot. Point being is that I call bullshit, and I think he's going to basically sign this, or they're going to find a weird deal where he ends up not getting what he thinks he should get.
Mm-hmm. And then blows up.
And ends up having to sign something that's not worth it. I mean, okay, look at this. If you signed a 4-year deal
mm-hmm.
where you got, I don't know, let's just say $25 million guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Or you played on the franchise tag for 2 more years and at $14 million and made $28 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then signed a long-term deal. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll have to get somebody to tell me the devaluing, because this franchise tag is such a red flag. Oh, I can't believe they're franchising me, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. obviously you want to be there long term, but, it's a business.
Great for a year, though. I mean,
is Andy Reid done in Kansas City? There's been a lot of speculation that he might get fired. I don't see it, but I hear a lot of talk. I think he should be fired, but I think he's going to find a way to pin this on Alex Smith.
I think so, too. I think if they do fire him, that happens within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, the thing is if you are actually considering, you're talking about firing Andy Reid?
Yeah.
If you're actually considering him, I think you've got to make the choice
sooner than later.
Very soon. I mean, your offensive coordinator, who you guys loved, just went to the Bears. Matt Nagy, however you say his name.
Yeah.
And Patricia and McDaniels are going to be gone, more than likely. If they go, they're going to be gone pretty close to the Super Bowl or have a job locked up before the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about NFL head coaching candidates. This year, the field is a little thin.
It is.
In my opinion, as far as legitimate head coaching candidates.
And, Jim Schwartz would be one, possibly, but would he leave Philly if what happens this week?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, he would leave Philly even if they, win the Super Bowl. Yeah, absolutely. You want to be a head coach again. I get it. I don't understand all the love for Jim Schwartz. I think he's a great defensive coordinator, but I mean, you saw firsthand.
Oh yeah.
What happened in Detroit. Can you realistically think that he can just take over a franchise that now is restarting with Pat Mahomes? Because if Alex is gone, you're looking at a brand new quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's decent.
We don't know what we have in him. I mean, we have, a couple of preseason flashes, and we have week 17. Which, whatever, it is what it is. I mean, I look at the top 10 candidates over the survey of the NFL, the top 10, new head coaching candidates. Mm-hmm. And I recognize 2, maybe 3 names. And one of the names on the top 10 candidates just got fired in Seattle. So I'm not thinking he's a head coaching candidate. Chris Richard of the defensive coordinator in Seattle. Pretty sure if you get fired from Seattle, you're not being considered for head coaching positions. So, if you look at this, Matt Patricia and McDaniels are obviously, if you believe what you read, Patricia's going to the Lions. I've read reports that is the case. I've also read reports that debunk that.
I don't know what to make about that.
Do you like it or do you not?
I like it better than Jim Schwartz, but...
Now, there's also talks that Matt Patricia is in the bed with the Giants as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, he's obviously certainly... him and McDaniels are obviously certainly the hot commodities.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And so is, a lot of Patriots coordinators over the years. But, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know McDaniels has been a head coach. We saw how that went in Denver. It didn't go very well. I'm not saying he had, the best situation around him, but it didn't go well. He got fired. It is what it is. But he could be a head coach again at this point, and there's about, 6 or 7 options right now. I feel like McDaniels makes sense in Arizona. You got you're going to be drafting a brand new quarterback. You can get whatever you want. You're coming back to the cupboard you're coming back to a cupboard of a decent defense. Fitzgerald may retire, but you have a really good running back coming off of basically a season of rest. And you have basically a clean slate to, there's no expectation. They had their, decent team playoff run, but right now I don't think there's a lot of expectation from the fans, To me, McDaniels makes sense in Arizona. Patricia makes sense in the New York. So,
yeah. I
don't know. It's just, to me, obviously after the Gruden hiring, there doesn't really seem to be a lot that's going to make a splash.
No, there's talks of even Jim Harbaugh coming to the NFL, which I think is very unlikely.
That's a tough one because I know that Jim Harbaugh wants to come back and prove that he's, can do well in the NFL. And depending on who you ask, I mean, would you consider Harbaugh successful at Michigan right now?
I'd say partially. I wouldn't say he's pleased every fan, but I would say overall they've done fairly well.
They haven't won a New Year's Six game. They choked against South Carolina this year.
Yeah.
He basically, when they were good, everybody said they were Brady Hoke's recruits. So, I don't know. I mean, I could see him leaving Michigan at this point. What he's built, to me, at Michigan is not what he built at Stanford or at San Francisco. So, it wouldn't shock me if he jumped to the NFL. And if he jumps to the NFL, then we've got some noise.
Mm-hmm.
So, that would be an interesting candidate to keep an eye on, obviously, the offseason. Because you don't really hear about him right now, as far as in the inner circles. But if he decided to make his name known, which he'd have to do privately, because Michigan's not going to fly for that. Michigan would lose him for next to nothing. It's not like the NFL where they'd have to trade or give him money. Michigan would lose him for nothing because he's jumping. So I'd have to get a research staff on that, but I don't think that an NFL team has to pay a college team a buyout. I could be wrong, but I think that they don't have to. So we'll be interested to see that. Anyways, so we've got our thoughts on the game. We've given you our thoughts. I'm going to go with that 14-point teaser. Take Philadelphia plus 17. I'm going to go with New England teased down to basically a victory plus a half a point. I'm going to take Jacksonville with 21 points. And I think I'm going to take New Orleans. I'm going to take the New Orleans total. Now you got me thinking about that 60. I think I'm going to take the total of 60.5 and go under. I think that's a good play. So I'll put that up on Twitter and definitely be on the lookout for that on the Vegas Squares Twitter. What else you got, man? What else do you think about?
I am liking I'm definitely going to take Jacksonville. Plus the points and maybe sprinkle a little on the money line.
Okay, that's a fair assessment.
I'd probably do a 14-point teaser like you, but mainly just on the totals. I'd take the over 27 in the Falcons Eagles.
Okay.
I would take the under in the Patriots in the Tennessee game at 62. Take the over in the Jacksonville-Pittsburgh game of 27. Then probably take the over of 32.5. And the Saints.
You're just going to go over all of them? Except for the Tennessee one?
Yeah.
Tennessee, yeah. That makes sense. 62 points is a lot.
It is.
That's a good point. So.
I think it could go good either way. 14 points over 34 or under 62.
It's going to be a good divisional weekend. What are you? Which game are you most forward to looking at? Not betting aside. Which game are you most forward to watching?
Saints Vikings.
Yeah, I think that's the consensus.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to watch Tennessee, New England, and I'm going to watch them all. They all look good, but you're right. Yeah. Saints Vikings is supposed to have that flair, and that's why I think you're going to be disappointed, in my opinion, if you're looking for a high scoring game in that point. So,
I think it'll be more defensive, and it should be a great one.
I agree. So, we appreciate you listening. Like, again, you can find us on all of our social media platforms, as well as 12-Ounce Sports Radio. Give them a follow, give them a shout out, let them know that Vegas Squares sent you. Check us out on Twitter, our own Twitter, Vegas Squares. And, it's going to be a fun divisional weekend, like I said, and we'll come back around on Monday and talk about it and recap it, see where we went wrong, see where we went right. And you guys enjoy. Hopefully you'll make a little money this weekend.
Ship it to the sherbet.
Ship it to the sherbet. You guys, it's ship the sherbet to the pervert. Anyways, have a great divisional weekend.